Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to take a look at the Tyranid army rules. Now, these are released on Games Workshop website for free. These will be the Index Tyranid rules. Now, there is something to talk about with this, and that the Tyranid and indeed the Space Marine ones, which we assume probably out tomorrow or the next day at this rate, are going to be the most short-lived of all the Index rules, because obviously these books are going to be the first launched for the new edition. Now, with that said though, I would expect very little to change in this from this to the Index. There probably will be some changes, but I think, these ones will be pretty close to what the final thing is. Now, with that said, we're going to go through the army rules, go through the special detachment you can use for playing in the Tyranids, and then take a look at all the data sheets. This will currently be the data sheets that we have available for the Tyranids. There aren't any of the units that are maybe unreleased that maybe will be coming with a full Tyranid release. So with that said, let's take a look at them. And the first of these is Synapse and Shadow in the Warp, which are the main two Tyranid abilities. Synapse just allows you to have 6-inch auras around all your Synapse creatures and units within those auras, cans being within Synapse range. That will be allowing you to take Battleshock tests on 3d6 instead of 2d6. This is pretty solid, makes you pass Battleshock tests easier. And then Shadow in the Warp is forcing your opponent to have to take a Battleshock test on all their units once per game. Then we got the Tyranid Detachment, where we get to pick a Hyper Adaptation if we're playing in the Invasion Fleet. We can have Swarming Instincts, where when we have a target infantry or swarm unit to the enemy, we get sustained hits 1, which is additional hits. Each time a Tyranid model for hyper-aggression targets a monster or vehicle, we have lethal hits, which is auto-wounding on a critical hit, which is a 6. And then Hive Predators is precision, if a critical hit is scored, which means we can actually target an enemy character within a unit, which is pretty nice. All in all, a cool set of rules to have. Now we're going to go through our stratagems. So, Rapid Regeneration. Use this in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit he selects its targets. One Tyranid unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more attacks. And until the end of the phase, you get Feel No Pain 6+. If your unit in your army is within Synapse range, you get 5+ Feel No Pain. Adrenal Search. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in one of those units makes an attack, a modified hit of a 5+ scores a critical hit, which is pretty cool. Up to 2 Tyranid units in your army. Fight phase. Nice. Death Frenzy is fighting on death. Overrun is used in the fight phase just before a Tyranid unit from your army consolidates. Until the end of that phase, each time a model in your unit makes a consolidation, you can move up to 6 instead. And we have Synaptic Insight, up to 2 Tyranid units from your army within Synapse range, or one other Tyranid unit from your army. So I do like this. I like that you either get to pick multiple units in Synapse range or a single other Tyranid unit. You can select one Hyper Adaptation until the end of the battle round. That Hyper Adaptation is active for those selected units in addition to any other. You cannot select the same Hyper Adaptation selected at the start of the first battle round. This is pretty cool. I really like the idea of this. This just allows you that little bit of modification to your play, a really useful one. And then lastly, we have Endless Swarm. Up to 2 Endless Multitude units from your army that are within Synapse, or one other. Up to D3 plus 3 destroyed models are returned to each of those selected units. So a little bit of model recursion going on here with the Tyranids. That could be an interesting thing. Now we then have 4 enhancements as well. These are going to be a couple of you can use. So first of all, we've got Alien Cunning, Tyranid model only. After both players have deployed their army, select up to 3 Tyranid units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set up those units in strategic reserve if you wish, regardless of how many units are already there. Perfectly adapted. Tyranid models only once per turn. You can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage, 1 advance, or 1 charge roll, or 1 saving throw made by the bearer. So nice, single reroll each turn on a bunch of very generic rolls. No, it doesn't say any psychic, so that's something. Tyranid models only when a friendly Tyranid unit is within 9 inches of the bearer. The unit is within synapse range. So nice extra synapse. And adaptive biology. The bearer has Feel No Pain 5+. At the start of the turn, if the bearer has fewer than its starting number of wounds until the end of the battle, it has Feel No Pain. Feel No Pain, not Feel No Pain. 4+. So a nice set as well. But now, let's take a look at the data sheets. I mean, the things we're all here for, so I think I need to shrink this a little bit. This is the Winged Hive Tyrant. So the Winged Hive Tyrant is a nice, big old beastie. Now, you've got your two main weapons there for a couple. I believe on mine I have a Stranglethorn Cannon. But he's got some nice damage there, strength 9 and strength 7. In Von for plus 10 wounds on a 2+ save with toughness 9 is pretty nice. Movement 12 inch with fly there as well is really cool. Paroxysm is a psychic power. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy within 12 inch visible to this model and roll 1d6. On a 1, the psychic suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 2, though, you subtract 1 from the attack characteristic equipped by models in that unit. That's really nice. -1 attack is really, really good. And then the Will of the Hive Mind, we've seen that already, can be a 0p stratagem. And then it's just going through the options, and this model can not go in. I really do dig him. I think he's pretty cool. Now, we don't have points. I think they might be at the end. I haven't had a full look, so this is my first sort of glance at everything. The regular Hive Tyrant, very similar, though he has Onslaught. So this is something that Age of Sigmar does, where mounted and unmounted versions, or in this case, model with wings and model without wings, have different psychic powers. So while friendly Tyranid units within 6 inches of this model, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the assault ability. Now this is a really cool thing on the different psychic powers for winged and unwinged Hive Tyrants here, and hopefully they do this for a bunch of different, sort of modified war scrolls or data slates as they're called in 40k. They allow the models to bring different powers to the game and give a really different value to these models within the game by doing so. In Age of Sigmar, we've had this for a while with different mount variations of the same sort of character, allow different different spells, which are psychic powers, to be taken, or different abilities even, and just changes up slightly in the utility and actually makes it so you can modify these characters and make them different. Now, okay, this model can have Tyrant Guard as a leader, which, we fully expect. That's sort of what they're there for. The Swarm Lord. I've got Swarm Lord. I love him. So Bone Sabers, 8 attacks. We've seen his profile. Now, his big thing is he's got a ranged weapon, which is this Synaptic Pulse. Ballistic skill already. It's Torrent, so it auto hits. And then Malign Presence. After your opponent uses a stratagem, if the model is your warlord and is on the battlefield, it can use this ability. If it does so until the end of the battle, increase the stratagem's cost to your opponent by 1 CP. This is really, really cool, Malign Presence. Being able to do that, on a really key stratagem for your opponent, it'd be really nice. And then he's got Synaptic range of 9 inch and can be joined on Tyrant Guard, which is nice. We then have the Brood Lord. So Brood Lord will bring Hypnotic Gaze. So the fight phase, select an enemy unit with an engagement range of the model, and until the end of the phase, each model in that unit makes an attack. You subtract 1 from the hit roll. Nice, lots of debuffs coming out of the Tyranids, which is really, really cool. Invon save, T5, 6 wounds. I dig him, he's pretty cool. Devastating wounds and twin linked as well. Not a lot of options, but can obviously be attached to Gene Stealers. The Winged Tyranid Prime, we don't really need to take a look. We looked at him in the previous slide. We did a video talking about the Winged Tyranid Prime and all the ones inside Indominus, so we won't talk too much, not Indominus, Leviathan, wrong giant starter box. But he can be a leader. He's got a bunch of units he can join, which is cool. The Tervagon is next. So this is going to be interesting because let's have a look. Spawn Termagants. In your command phase, select one friendly Termagant unit within 6 inches of this model and return up to D3+3 destroy Termagant models with him, and the Endless Swarm could be really interesting. And can also give out lethal hits to Termagants as well. So you can definitely create some pretty good regeneration on your Termagants. Now, really interesting with this now is it doesn't bring any units to the table now. It is just spawning extra Termagants onto your units. So you do need to actually have units on the table to be able to use your Tervagon properly now. Old One Eye, I do have this guy sitting there as well. So what's he looking like? T9, 9 wounds. Objective control 3. Is he like better than most? Oh no, objective control 5. Can't affect special alpha leader. Well, this model is leading a unit each time. So does that mean yes, he can? He can lead unit of can't effects. All right, I dig this. Old One Eye being able to lead some can't effects units is nice. Unstoppable monster. Regains D3 wounds each command phase. Solid. 6 attacks at strength 14 with his claws and talons and the strike. D6 plus 1 damage. Or 12 attacks at -1 damage 1. Yeah, he's cool. Tyranid Warriors with ranged bioweapons. So a shooting unit here. And Tyranid Warriors can all have that. Oh, and you do have a champion in there. 1 Tyranid Prime and 2 to 5 Tyranid Warriors. So that's cool. And Tyranid Warriors with melee bioweapons. So this is interesting with the Tyranid Warriors. They're going to have a couple of different... So bioweapons. So going to be combat variations. So this is interesting now. They're not having different weapon profiles, just the bioweapons are going to be the flat one profile now. Now, able to shoot and declare a charge on a turn in which they fell back is nice on the shooty ones. Then we have the combat ones down here, where at the start of the fight phase you can select one of the following abilities to apply. Reroll hit rolls of 1 or reroll saving rolls of 1. So they're a nice adaptable unit. Termagants, we've been through them. We've seen them in the previous slide. Hormagaunts on the other one. Advance and charge on them is nice. Other than that, 3 attacks, pretty cool. All in all, not too much to write home about. We then have the Gargoyles, which are going to be Wing Swarm. In the shooting phase after this unit has shot, if it's not within engagement range, they can make a normal move of up to 6. If it does until the end of the turn, they're not eligible to declare a charge. This is a really cool ability. That'll be super, super useful. Being able to sort of go within 18 inch, shoot your opponent, and then move out to 24 inch to keep them out of combat is incredibly useful. We then have the Toxicrene. I do love this model. So... T11, 14 wounds. I do want to get a Toxicrene for the Force. He's looking pretty cool. Bunch of damage 2 with anti-infantry 2+ is really nice. So at the end, and then he's got a few little rules here. Grasping Tendrils. Each time an enemy unit, excluding Titanic units within engagement range from your use this ability is selected to fall back, you can roll 1d6 on a 3+. The enemy unit must remain stationary instead. So you can sort of has a 50% chance of just locking your opponent's units in combat with it. At the starting movement phase as well, you roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inch. On a 2 to 3, they'll suffer a mortal wound. 4 to 5, d3. And on 6, d6 mortal wounds. Pretty cool. Tyrant Guard. These are going to be a little bit important because obviously they're going to be able to protect. While the character model is leading this unit, the character has Feel No Pain 5+, so cool. They're also T8. Nice. With 4 wounds. Pretty solid there, all out. We then have the Neuro Tyrant that we've seen already. Brand new Psyker. Electors. Some of my favourite Tyranid models. I think they're awesome. Fights first, infiltrators, lone operative, very similar to the Von Ryan's Leapers we've already seen. Once per battle round, you can target one model with this ability with a rapid ingress stratagem for 0 CP. And each time this model destroys an enemy character model, you gain 1 CP. Cool. Combat, they've got 6 attacks, 2+, strength 7, minus 2 AP, damage 2. Pretty solid all round. I'm assuming we then have a Death Leaper and... Death Leaper doesn't join any units. Obviously, Lictor's a single model, aren't they? I'm thinking of the Von Royans. That would have been cool if you could lead the Von Royans, but Death Leaper is there. Same profile. He's got feeder tendrils, so he can get that. But Fear of the Unseen, while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, worsen their leadership by 1. In addition, in the Battle Shock step, if such an enemy unit is below its starting strength, it must take a Battle Shock test. That's cool. Being able to sort of force more Battle Shock tests with him is his sort of big thing. The Maleceptor. So, Inflight Diffusion. While an enemy unit is within 6 inch, each time a model in the unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the enemy unit is below half strength, subtract 1 from wound roll. So another way to get -1 to hit in the army. This is the second -1 to hit now I've seen, but you can also get -1 to wound on it. Nice. And then we've got Pyrovores. I've got a unit of these guys. They're amazing. Well, they were, but what are we looking at now? Flame Spurt ignores cover, torrent, and twin linked. So D6 attacks +1, auto hitting, strength 6, -1 AP, damage 1. And in your shooting phase, after this unit is shot, you select the one enemy unit hit, and that unit can't get the benefits of cover. That's a pretty cool rule. Being able to use these to sort of unlock, yeah, they're interesting. I don't think they're quite as powerful as they used to be. But that's a cool rule. So I could see for a decent cost them being useful. The Horror specs. So we've got Grizzly Spectre. Each time this model selected a fight after resolving its attacks, if one or more enemy units were destroyed, each enemy unit within 6 inch must take a Battle Shock. So we're really starting to see more Battle Shock abilities. Obviously, the army-wide rules. We've then seen the Death Leaper and more of this here. Venom Thropes, Foul Spores. While a friendly Tyranid unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a ranged attack targets that unit, model in the units have the benefit of cover against that attack. In addition, while a Tyranid unit is within 6 inches, they have stealth. Cool. Nice little protection, sort of similar to what they're already doing. Von Ryan's Leapers we've checked out as well already. Neurogaunts we've seen. They're a cool little protectful unit. Zonothropes. So, while this unit contains a Neurothrope, so Neurothropes are now in the units, it was seen. So no longer separate units. So while this unit contains a Neurothrope, while an enemy unit is within 6 inch, each time the enemy unit fails a Battle Shock test, it suffers D3 mortal wounds, and modern model of this unit regains up to D3. They've also got a Warp Field, where while a friendly Tyranid unit is within 6 inch, they have a 6-up Invon. And then we go to Warp Blast. Over here can be some... the Focus Fire is nice. Lethal hit, psychic. 1 attack, 3, strength 12, -3 AP, damage D6 +1. That could definitely be some powerful unit there of Zonothropes. Gene Stealers, the good old boys. T4, 2 wounds apiece is nice. Weapon skill 2+, strength 4, -2 AP, damage 1. Vanguard Predator. Each time one unit makes an attack, you can reroll wound rolls of 1, and they're within range of an objective marker. You can just flat out reroll wounds. That is super, super cool. Really liking a bunch of stuff we've seen so far. Excuse me, there is a lot of Tyranids. Ravners, perhaps my favourite Tyranid unit. Always loved the Snake Boys. T5 is nice with 3 wounds apiece. Only damage 1 though on their attacks. Death from below at the start of your end of your opponent's turn. If units are not within engagement range, you can put them back in strategic reserves, which is cool. Rippers, we've seen them already as well. Parasite of Mortex, so this is one of the cool ones. Each time an infantry unit is destroyed by an attack made with this model's bars of Impositor, after this model has finished making attacks, you can add 1 new Ripper Swarms unit to your army consisting of D3 mortals. And it itches at the start of the fight phase. Select one enemy unit within engagement range, and they have to take a battle shock. So, ability to bring more models back to the table and more battle shock play. The Morlock. So, big terror from the deep. Each time this unit is set up on the battlefield using the deep strike ability, roll on d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inch. On a 2 to 4, they suffer d3. On a 5, that unit suffers 3. What are we looking at? Lots of damage 1, but 16 attacks, 3s, strength 8, minus 2 AP, damage 1. And the distendable jaw as well is nice. You've got the extra attacks in there as well, so I'll be able to use that in addition to the massive siphon talons at all time. The Trigon, so very similar. Each time this model is set up on the battlefield, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 3 inch horizontally from all enemy units. When doing so, if this model is set up within 9 inch or one or more enemy units till the end of the turn, it's not eligible to declare a charge though. Pretty cool. That'd be an interesting ability. I'd be interested to see how that sort of plays out. Mucilid Spores. Nothing too crazy there. Spore Mines. Floating Death. You know, they explode like we expect. Exocrine. I've got one of these. The Bioplasmatic Cannon. D6 plus 3 attacks. Blitzkill 3 plus strength 8 minus 3 AP damage 3. That is solid with blast and heavy. Symbiotic targeting in your shooting phase. After this model is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, each Tyranid model making an attack against that unit can reroll hit rolls of 1. Nice. So it's big artillery piece that also sort of targets our enemy units. Is solid. Biovores Spore Mine Launcher. In your shooting phase, each time this unit is selected to shoot. And yeah, you can put small mines on the table instead of actually shooting, which is cool. Other than that, you know, they're a little bit better than they used to be. D3 attack, strength 6, minus 1 AP, damage 2. Cool. The Carnifexes. So, Blistering Assault. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot. After the unit shot, if any models from this unit lost one or more wounds, this unit can make a Blistering Assault move. To do so, roll 1d6, adding 2 to the result. Each one of this unit can be moved to distance in inches. Pretty cool, all in all. I need to get more Carnifexes and add and have a unit of Old One-Eye. That'd be really cool. The big old Screamer Killer we've seen. Hive Guard with their Impaler Cannons now. Ooh, Impaler Cannons. Direct fire, but are now damage 1. Each time this unit with the Fire Overwatch, while resolving stratagem, they hit on 5+. They've definitely taken with Impaler Cannons a big hit. They used to be absolutely insane. They're nowhere near that anymore. The Tyrannofex. I've got I've got one of these as well. Just looking up at my shelf, I'm like, did I have one of these or was it the other one? No, I do have a Tyrannofex. So I have the big Rupture Cannon on it. So 2 attacks. Yeah. I mean, it's damage 2d6. It is what it is. I love 2d6 rolls. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea with a 2d6 roll, but I really dig them. I love the roll, like, you know, the ups and downs of rolling a 2 to 12. We didn't have the Tyrannocyte, what we expect out of them. They're drop pods. Hive Crone, Airborne Predator. It gets bonuses against fly models. The Harpy, obviously, Spore Mine Cysts. So you can set up Spore Mines as it's sort of moving over the battlefield. 20 plus inches. What? That is insane. Then we go next. Spore Assist. Sarcophage, the brand new one we've already seen. Barb Gaunts as well we've checked out. And that is that for the Tyranids. But what is your favourite units? There's a few things in particular. I really dig card effects. I would assume with Tyranids, this is far from everything. This is just everything we've got so far. There's going to be a bunch more new units added to the army. I'm really excited to get my Tyranids on the table. We'll look at getting some games in with them very soon. Once we have the Space Marine rules on the table as well, we'll be putting some Tyranid vs Space Marine open play games on the channel while we wait for points. That said, like I said, what was your favourite unit? What things are you liking about the Tyranids? I'd love to hear from everyone down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me, we have a Discord server for the channel, and that is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. This is either via Patreon or YouTube members using one of our affiliate links and codes down there, like Baron of Dice, Gap Games, or Mithras Games, or by supporting us directly on Patreon or YouTube members. If you'd like to do any of those, we have links for that all in the description. And as a special thank you to our Patrons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Soren, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Q Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. And our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Loric, The Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, and John Castle. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Once again, everyone, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.